Hey everybody, this is Kohdok here, just doing a quick video here. I'm working on a video right now. It's a 5 reviews in 1, so hopefully that'll go really well. It's just been a bit hard to do since I'm working 2 jobs right now. I'm also planning on going to the Origins Game Fair in Columbus, Ohio tomorrow, mostly for Buddy Fight, but also for a couple of other things. I'm going to be there tomorrow and Saturday. And I figured I'd take the opportunity to talk about Ancient World a little bit, speaking of Buddy Fight. Now, Ancient World just came out in the new set last Friday, so there haven't really been that very many cards that long, but Ancient World has a completely different strategy from every other region that's come out so far. First of all, Ancient World doesn't have any items, and that's because the central focus of Ancient World is size 3 monsters. Like, I've got Tempest Enforcer here, Seeger Tempest Enforcer. I've already managed to finish a Seeger deck with it, but the idea of the deck is that you get out a size 3 monster and then you support it with a bunch of effects, because there's a whole bunch of cards that are designed to work as extra functions when there's a size 3 monster in play. For example, there's all these Ice Emperor dragons and the Fortune Dragon for Volca. All of them have an additional effect. They basically turn into a spell card while you have a size 3 monster in play. So that's basically the gist of the deck, or at least the Dragon World deck. There's also the Wild Dragons, but they're really vanilla, so they don't really work that well. Like I said, I have a Seeger deck. I pretty much have everything needed except for maybe a couple more of the rares and one more copy of regular Seeger as my buddy. But the idea of the dual Seeger deck is that you're constantly getting out new forms of dual Seeger, but I don't think I have to explain to you, because we've seen how it works in the show. Even if you don't play Buddy Fight, I'm sure all of you card gamers understand how hard it is to have not only a specific card in your hand at the right time, which can only be obtained by drawing from the deck, but it has to have the right timing, and you have to be able to pay the cost, or you lose half your health. Dual Seeger, as it is right now, is really clunky. I mean, sometimes it works, but most of the time I either have regular Dual Seeger and none of his forms in my hand, or I'll have all of his extra forms but none of the regular ones. Or the worst situation is when I only have those cards in there and I have to decide whether or not I think I'll be able to get the gauge to play the next forms, or if I'll have to use those extra forms to be extra Soul Guard for Seeger. So yeah, it's really clunky. Unless it gets some better support, I don't think Ancient World's going to be much of a threat. Lattice though is a whole lot better. It's only a double rare, and it is the only size 3 Ancient World monster that doesn't have lifelink. Seeger has lifelink 5. There's another one called Gold Dragon Abend, which is a wild dragon. It has lifelink 3, and then there's Galaxy Lord Dragon Galiazon. I don't know if I said that right, but he has a lifelink of 8, and it's really hard to get out because you have to have a bunch of cards in there. Oh, and Fortune Dragon for Volca. Look at that. This is a dragon! Or, I guess it's supposed to be a dragon. Maybe it's a dragon for Neopets. But, here's the thing. A lot of those monsters that turn into spells, I mean, yeah, that sounds really cool, but if you can't get a size 3 monster out, or if your size 3 gets destroyed, they become kind of cards with kind of basic average stat. For Volca, doesn't even do any damage. It has the same stats as the chess piece Rook, and it has lifelink 1 to go with that, so it's a really clunky deck. Although there's a bunch of cards that are all about life gain, like you got Dragon Dreams, gain 3 life, and drawing cards and doing gauge. That's no problem at all. And by far probably one of those broken cards in the game I've seen so far is Dragon Emperor Legend, where you get to draw a card, add a card to your gauge, and gain 1 life. It's having your cake and eating it too. They limit you to playing it once per turn, but really that's a really good card. I imagine if there's going to be, the Destruction. The Destruction is if the attack or defense is 2,000 or lower, destroy it. That is not really good. And the big thing about doing a gimmick with size 3 monsters is that Danger World already does that so much better, because you have Demon, who has double attack, although the size 3 monsters in all of them have Soul Guard or double attack or penetrate in some way to make them better, since you only have 1 monster in play. But Danger World has Armor Knight Demon, which has not only better stats than all of the Ancient World cards except for Tempest Enforcer here, which is almost impossible to get out and you lose when he dies. But he can be supported by size 0 monsters as well. If Ancient World came out with some size 0 monsters, maybe you'd be a competitor. I mean, it might have been fun if they hadn't put out a bunch of cards in this exact same set that are basically designed to shut down Ancient World. Like, Katana World got 2 cards. One, they got a weapon with 8,000 attack power. I mean, yeah, you have to pay 1 gauge to keep it in play every turn, but boo-hoo, Katana World gets that card that charges them 3 gauge for free. And they also got a card that nullifies the attack of a monster with Soul Guard, which, like I said before, is basically every Ancient World size 3, and cleans out the soul, all the cards from the soul. And Dragon World got an impact card that shoves a monster in the center aside and then deals direct damage to the opponent, meaning that size 3 you were counting on to protect you, it's now not protecting you anymore. So Ancient World is going to have a lot of problems. I mean, probably the only edge Ancient World has is if it's possible to play more than 1 impact during the final phase, it could be possible for Ancient World to pull off a first turn KO, because if you get out one of your size 3 dragons and then you play 4 Bolka and Rise and Fall of Dragons to get back up to 6 gauge, you successfully attack with that monster and then you play 2 copies of this, then you've won the game basically on the first turn before your opponent has a chance to play anything. Although with all the shields in Dragon World, I don't know if that would work, but Ancient World, I don't know. It's the way it is now, I don't think it's very good. Maybe it's because I don't have enough copies of things like Fort Bolka or Divine Dragon Creation in my collection yet. I mean, I have a few of them, but other than that, you know, it's not very spectacular. They have, the size 1 monsters have Magic World stats, and so do the size 2s that have the special spell effects. I mean, it's kind of fun. It can be interesting. When it works, but more often than not, when it doesn't, it really doesn't. So that's Ancient World, and see you guys at Origins.